So, OpenAI just dropped GPT 5.2. And honestly, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. For weeks now, Gemini 3 Pro has been sitting on top of the world, the undisputed champ. But now, OpenAI is firing back. So today, we're going to put them head to head in a bunch of real-world tests to see who really truly deserves that crown. All right, let's jump right into the first round. And yeah, this quote, it just sets the stage perfectly, doesn't it? This isn't just some minor update. It's a genuine high-stakes showdown. You've got the reigning king, Gemini, and the challenger, GPT 5.2, stepping right into the ring. So the big question on everyone's mind is, can the old champion actually take back its title? So, who are our contenders in this title fight? Well, in one corner, you've got Google's Gemini 3 Pro, which has been just crushing every single benchmark and winning over tons of users. And in the other corner, OpenAI's brand new GPT 5.2, which is rolling in with some seriously bold claims. Okay, let's look at the tail of the tape here. OpenAI is coming out swinging, claiming GPT 5.2 isn't just an update. They're calling it, and I quote, the smartest generally available model in the world. Whoa. Meanwhile, Gemini 3 Pro has built this rock-solid reputation for pure, raw performance, and it's converted a lot of people who used to swear by GPT. Now, benchmarks are one thing, but let's see how they actually handle themselves in the real world. All right, let's kick things off with our very first round, the Battle of Words. Here, we're testing logic and creative writing, the absolute foundational skills for any AI. This is going to be a really critical first test. So for our first test, we're throwing them a bit of a curveball, a tick question. We're asking them to do a calculation that involves mammals on Mars. Now, of course, there are no mammals on Mars, so this is a pure test of logic. It's really a way to see if they just make stuff up, if they hallucinate. And boom, the results are in. Both models passed the test, no problem. They both correctly figured out that there are no native Martian mammals. But, and this is the crucial part, look at the difference in their style. GPT 5.2 was incredibly concise, just straight to the point. That is a huge improvement from its older versions, which tended to ramble. Gemini was also correct, but it gave a much longer, more detailed answer. For just getting straight to the point, GPT 5.2 has a really clear edge here. Next up, let's give them a creative writing challenge. I asked both AIs to write 3 engaging hooks for this very explainer. This is a task I literally do every single day, so I've got a pretty good feel for what a good hook actually sounds like. Gemini's attempts were, well, they were a little much. As the creator who tested this put it, they just felt a bit dramatic. Hooks like, this isn't just an update, it's a declaration of war. It's a bit over the top, right? It just feels like it's trying way too hard to be sensational. On the other hand, GPT 5.2, it delivered an absolutely fantastic hook. It's natural, it sets the stage perfectly, and it's something you could actually hear a real person say. It just feels authentic, and it gets right to the heart of what we're all wondering about. So for this first round, the winner is crystal clear. With that newfound directness in its logic and its superior, much more natural creative writing, GPT 5.2 takes the battle of words. All right, let's move on to round 2, the clash of the canvases. This is where we test their multimodal skills, everything from analyzing photos to generating really complex images from scratch. And this is an area where Gemini has been known to really shine. First up, we gave them a photo from inside a Warby Parker store. GPT 5.2, it did a decent job. It saw the text, it got the context, and it correctly guessed it was a brand like Warby Parker. But Gemini, it went the extra mile. It actually identified the store as Warby Parker by name because it was able to go out and pull information from their website. That extra layer of research gives Gemini the win here, for sure. Next, image generation. The prompt was pretty complex. A futuristic street market, specific details like glowing blue apples, lots of signs in the background, and wow, Gemini was not only way faster, but the result was incredible. The image was super detailed, and the text on the signs in the background was actually creative and well-written. GPT 5.2, on the other hand, was really slow, and the signs in its image were just disappointingly repetitive. Okay, for the grand finale of the visual round, we gave them a real-world task. Create a viral YouTube thumbnail. This is a multi-step prompt that requires it to understand aspect ratios, composition, and that very specific viral aesthetic. And, well, this quote says it all, doesn't it? While Gemini produced a nearly perfect thumbnail that followed every single instruction, GPT 5.2's attempt was, to put it nicely, a complete failure. It was just unworkable, a total mess of an image that didn't even come close to what we asked for.
So yeah, there's no contest here. Not even close. With better photo analysis, way faster and higher quality image generation, and flawless photo editing, Gemini 3 Pro absolutely dominates the visual round.
All right, it's time for our final round, the coding face-off. This is a super critical area for anyone out there building apps or websites. Can these AIs actually generate code that works and looks good? Let's find out. So the first task was to code up a landing page for an AI course. GPT 5.2 finished first, which, seemed promising at first. But then we actually previewed the results, and it was a disaster. The layout was totally broken, the text was unreadable, it was completely unusable. Gemini was slower, sure, but it delivered a functional, well-designed page that actually looked like what you'd expect.
I mean, this blunt assessment pretty much sums up GPT 5.2's performance perfectly. Being fast means absolutely nothing if the final product is broken. It's just a clear failure in this test.
Okay, so to be fair, we gave it a second chance with something a bit simpler, a basic to-do list app. And while both models did create a functional app this time, the difference in quality was just stark. Gemini's version was clean, well-designed, and it had a much better user interface. It just looked and felt professional.
So the coding face-off goes to Gemini, period. It consistently produces higher quality, more functional, and just plain better designed code. For anyone out there who wants to build with AI, it is the clear choice right now.
All right, after 3 pretty intense rounds of competition, it is time for the final verdict. Let's break down the judges' scorecard and see where we landed. This chart breaks it all down nice and simple. GPT 5.2 is the new champion of text and logic, no doubt about it. Thanks to its concise answers and fantastic creative writing, it is just the better wordsmith. But when it comes to anything visual or anything related to code, Gemini 3 Pro is in a league of its own. It's faster, it's more creative with images, and it is a significantly better coder. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, it's that the crown is still very much contested. There is no single best AI. The right choice for you depends entirely on what you do. Are you a writer, a strategist, a marketer? GPT 5.2 might be your new best friend. But if you're a designer, an artist, or a developer, Gemini 3 Pro is still holding onto that throne. So ultimately, the real question isn't about who won today's showdown. It's about which of these incredibly powerful tools is the right one for your daily workflow.